Alright, so I ask you to ponder this multiple choice question here. This is a tricky question, so you're looking for things that would be positive externalities. To do these, you have to think a little bit about the people that aren't necessarily involved. Sometimes it's helpful to think, for example, with public education or youth centers. Think of somebody that doesn't go to schools, doesn't have anything to do with the school seemingly. Think like Mr. Sutton's grandmother, if you will, okay? Use Mr. Sutton's grandmother. She does absolutely nothing to do with either of those two things, and think if she gets a benefit, pays a cost, etc., okay? Try to use that maybe, and think about these for a second if you're stuck. So, let's talk about public education and Mr. Sutton's grandmother for a second. The question is, does my grandmother really incur any of the cost of producing public education? She certainly doesn't devote any time. She doesn't, volunteer at the school. She doesn't really do anything related to the school. Yet, and I know some people say, well, maybe she pays taxes. Maybe. I'm going to guess my grandmother's taxes contribution to the school is fairly small. Maybe she does. But for the most part, she doesn't put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into the local school. The question is, does she benefit from the local school? And here I think the answer is an unequivocal yes. Because think about what the school does. Why we like having schools. We like our young people to have a place to go during the day, because what would they do if they didn't have someplace to go? Who knows, but I could see them getting into a lot of trouble if they weren't at school doing something productive. Think about why else we like to have schools. Besides having a place for kids to go during the day, we also like them to learn stuff. Why do we like them to learn stuff? Well, because people who learn stuff tend to do stuff. They go to work. They make businesses. They make new stuff, like new Duck Dynasty episodes, or they make new inventions, all which help people, right? And they get this because of public education. They are able to help people. They also don't do some things, like break into homes. The better educated you are, the less likely you are to commit a crime, I guess. So in a sense, yeah, my grandmother stands to get a lot of benefits from public education. So public education is in here. So that means that one has to be in. So we can eliminate C and D. Now, the youth center, again, my grandmother is not going to the youth center. I will tell you that. She is not going down there. She'd go to the senior center, but she's not going to the youth center. She probably doesn't even know where the youth center is. And she certainly doesn't do anything to help the youth center. I wouldn't even expect my what is my grandmother going to donate some shoes or something? No way. She's going to donate some athletic gear or something? Maybe she could donate some board games. I don't know. But she's probably not doing a lot to pay a cost in the production of the youth center. But at the same time, similar to public education, why do we like having youth centers? It gives kids a place to go. They're kind of supervised, and they have structured activities, and they're staying out of trouble, right? And so that definitely benefits my grandmother, who has absolutely nothing to do, again, with the youth center. So that means that A has to be out, because 2 is a positive externality. So now we have B and E. And so 3 is in. So we don't really need, on the test, you don't need to think about 3. You just have to think about 4. But I'm going to make you think about 3 here. So in-home sprinkler systems. Well, let's think about who pays the cost of an in-home sprinkler system. If the sprinkler system is in my home, I paid for it. Not my neighbor, not my other neighbor, not the guy across the street. I paid for it. The question is, if my house has a sprinkler system, do the other people in my community benefit? I guess you could say it kind of depends, which doesn't really work because it has to be in the answer here. Because maybe it depends on how close they are, but I live in a townhouse, and so my neighbors are definitely getting a benefit from my sprinkler system, because if my house catches on fire, what will not happen? It hopefully will not light my neighbor's house on fire, because I have the sprinkler system that will put out the fire. So this is a definite public benefit or positive externality. But again, we can't eliminate anything. So now the question is about 4 and the club. So the club is the thing you see on people's steering wheels, and it keeps you from stealing somebody's car. Not that any of you would ever think of doing such a thing. But let's think about this. So positive externality means that I should get a benefit even if my car doesn't have a club on it. So who pays the cost of the club? The guy whose car has the club on it, right? And he definitely gets a benefit because it should keep his car safer. The question is, if Mr. Sutton is parked next to the car with the club on it, am I getting a benefit? Well, let's see. Is my car less likely to be stolen because the club is on the car next to me? Imagine you're a car robber for a second. You roll up, you see car A has a club on it. You say, that car doesn't seem like one that I'll steal today. It's going to be a little trickier. You look at car B, which happens to be Mr. Sutton's car. Car B has no club on it. What do you do as a robber? You say, oh, I'll break into car B, Mr. Sutton's car. Has Mr. Sutton received a benefit from your car, car A, having a club on it? No, it does not seem that I have. In fact, it seems that your little club here has cost me it's cost me a lot of turmoil. So in fact, 4 is a negative externality, which means the answer is B. All right. So now what you have to do. So this is actually a kind of a trickier problem in some respects, but hopefully it helps you kind of think about positive versus negative externalities. Now, your job is to go do these. So categorize them as positive or negative. Give me a little bit of an explanation about why. All right? That is your job right now. Go do that now.